John Randle, a crazy, intense player. Hey, everybody. So, my next football card video is of John Randle. Um, why? Because I have a lot of memories about that guy. And why do I have memories about a Minnesota Viking? Well, because he was awesome. A Hall of Famer, intense NFL player. So, yeah, like I said, I have a lot of memories about John Randle, and that's why I make these videos. Okay, so where do I begin? Okay, so the card is a 1991 Pro set, and it's a graded 9 out of 10, so it's a pretty sweet card. Now, I bought this card. I didn't buy it in 1991 when he was a rookie because I didn't really know about him until like 3 seasons later. So I ended up buying this card like in 1995, around there, 1994, 1995. So, because that's when I started hearing about John Randle. I never saw him in college. He went to some small college in Texas. I don't even remember the name of it. Um, and the earliest memories I have of him are, like I said, in the mid 1990s, 94, 95. Um, and I remember him because the Vikings and the Packers, they're in the same division, and I would watch a lot of Brett Favre because Brett Favre was one of my favorite players back then, and uh, John Randle would be all over Brett Favre all the time. In fact, I think I read somewhere that John Randle has sacked Brett Favre more than any other quarterback that, or something like that. Like Brett Favre has been sacked by John Randle more times than any other defensive end, or John Randle has sacked Brett Favre more than any other quarterback that he sacked, something like that. So that was a pretty good rivalry, John Randle against Brett Favre. So that was a pretty good rivalry right there. And in the '90s, both teams were pretty decent. The Packers would go to the playoffs pretty much every season because of Brett Favre, and the Vikings, they would pop up in the playoffs here and there, so they were a pretty decent team. Um, and I do remember John Randle was the highest paid defensive player at one time, and I forget when that was. That was in the late '90s. Yeah, he was the highest paid defensive player at the time. Um, what else can I tell you about John Randle? I just like the way he played. He his motor was always going, and I just didn't understand how someone could never take a play off. He was always after the quarterback, and it was like this crazy intensity. Yeah. So I really like the way he played football, and um, and sometimes like the camera would be on him on the sideline, and just some of the things he would say on the sidelines. He was a big time trash talker. So, but a total character. And that's why I've kept this card all these years, is because I just like the guy. The guy was just intense, and he's a Hall of Famer. And what else can I tell you about John Randle? Um, well, he left the Vikings. That's right. He played like a season or something like that. He played 1 or 2 seasons with the Seattle Seahawks. That's right. I forgot about that. But anyways, that's why I make these videos, is because of these players, these certain players, just bring back memories. So when I think about John Randle, I think about the 1990s NFL, the best decade in football history.